Hello teachers! Buon pomeriggio a tutti e benvenuti al secondo webinar organizzato da Celtic Publishing Gruppo Raffaello. Chi l'ha detto che l'autunno è una stagione triste? Tutt'altro. Nel webinar che sta per iniziare, Let's Celebrate Autumn, condivideremo spunti e idee per parlare delle festività autunnali celebrate nel Regno Unito, ma non solo. Faremo un magico viaggio attorno al mondo attraverso usi, costumi e tradizioni. Prima di dare la parola alla teacher trainer Louise, vi ricordo che il certificato vi verrà inviato via email entro lunedì prossimo. Mi raccomando, non dimenticatevi di cliccare mi piace alla nostra pagina Facebook Celtic Publishing e che il webinar abbia inizio. Enjoy it! Bye bye!
Hello and welcome to the Celtic Publishing webinar, where I will give you some ideas and inspiration on the autumn festivals that we have going on around the world at the moment during this season. My name is Louise Baxter and I am a qualified language teacher. I have over 20 years experience teaching English to children and adults. And I have a lot of experience working in an international school where there are over 68 different nationalities. And I would like to share some of my experiences with you. Okay, so. Okay, so we're going to be looking at an inclusive learning in the classroom through celebrations. Today's classroom is ever more multicultural, and it is important and necessary to integrate a multicultural learning environment. In this webinar, we will look at other festivals and celebrations during the season to embrace the diversity and incorporate ideas and beliefs from different countries and cultural backgrounds. So, festivals and celebrations in autumn. What autumn celebrations can you see here? If you want to type in the chat box, do so. Do you recognize any of these festivals? Okay, we've got Halloween, that's right. Okay, there's Bonfire Night or Guy Fawkes Night there. Yes, there is Mexico's Day of the Dead festival. And what about this one here? Yes, this is an Indian festival and it is called Diwali. Can you think of other festivals or celebrations that we have this season? So there's a very big one coming up in America at the moment. And that is Thanksgiving. Yes, that's going to be on the 26th of November. And there's also Harvest that we had in the UK earlier on the 4th of October. So there are many, many autumnal celebrations going on around the world at the moment. So light up autumn. So autumn is a great time for students to talk and compare about different celebrations all around the world. So many of these autumn festivals also share a common theme of light. So there are bonfires, big fires, lamps, lanterns, candles and fireworks, and they light up the cold autumn nights. The festivals that we are going to look at are Halloween, Mexico's Day of the Dead, Bonfire or Guy Fawkes Night, and Diwali. There are many more as well. So let's have a look at these four here. what can you tell me about the traditions and origins of these festivals? Let's look at Halloween first. Okay, is there anything there that you know? Yes? Okay, that's right. Okay, it's celebrated on the eve of All Saints' Day. That's right. Okay, yeah. There's trick or treat as well. Okay, the people get together and they wear costumes to scare away those ghosts. Super, that's great. So lots of you are coming in with lots of great answers here. Okay, let's have a quick look at Mexico's Day of the Dead. Do you know anything about these traditions or origins? Okay, it's a little bit similar to Halloween, isn't it? Yes. Okay, but it's not. It's held on the 1st and 2nd of November, and again, people dress up and they come together. Yes, it's a big light celebration in the cemeteries. That's right. Okay, let's go down and have a look at Bonfire Night, a very typical UK festival that we have, celebrated on the 5th of November. Is there anything you can tell me about this celebration? Okay. Okay, to celebrate a failed attempt of Guy Fawkes Night. That's right. That's right. Yes. Okay. And it's to remember a failed gunpowder plot in 1605, actually. Okay, there's also Diwali, which is a 5-day festival, and this year it is held from the 12th of November to the 16th of November. Do you know anything about Diwali? So type in to your chat box there if you've got any ideas about what Diwali is and how it is celebrated. Okay, another name for Diwali is the Festival of Light. That's right, okay, and that's where this image here comes from, okay, the diya lamps there, they're oil lamps that are used during this festival. There's a long story in history about this that comes about two people that fell in love and then they couldn't be together, and it's a big celebration of light, goodness, over darkness, which is considered evil. Okay, so shall we move on? Okay, autumn festivals share a common theme of light. Light is life, and we celebrate life. So what I want to look at with you today is lots of visuals. And before I go on, in British English, we say autumn. And in American English, they say fall, simply because the leaves fall off the trees. Okay. Now, I have 3 images here. Now, you can get lots and lots of images from the internet depending on the celebration that you want to focus on. We have 3 here, and the idea is to stimulate lots of English vocabulary. Okay, so we can do that by asking lots of questions. So, for example, what can you see? Simple question that you can ask your children. Okay, you can see people. Okay, you can see people in costumes. What colors can you see? Okay, so we've got some similar colors coming from these different festivals here. There's orange and black, purple, white. We've got the colored flowers as well. Is it daytime or nighttime? Are people in costumes or wearing masks? Where in the world do you think the festival is celebrated? And at this point, with a question like this, you can look at different countries in the world and bring that vocabulary back in as well. Are there any similarities? If there are, what are they? What are the differences? So this is a fantastic activity to generate lots and lots of vocabulary. And once you have that vocabulary, you can write it up on your board or write it down on cards, or you can get your children to make a little booklet of autumn words or autumn festival vocabulary, okay, and use that during this season as well, okay? So it's very important to use lots of visuals. One visual that I have here is a great way for Quinta to look at Halloween and Day of the Dead in a Venn diagram. It's a great way to get the children talking and discussing. Okay, always try to do it in English as well. You may want to focus on the similarities that we have here in the middle of the two circles. Okay, so have a look. What's similar about the two festivals? Well, they both wear costumes. Okay, they both have big parades or parties. People come together. So you can get the children to write that in. Then you can focus on the things that they do in Halloween only. So there's trick or treat, or there is making a jack-o'-lantern, for example. So something that they don't do with the Day of the Dead. Okay, when you've got all your ideas down, you can then focus on the other celebration, the other festival, which is Day of the Dead, and what they do. Well, they decorate and light up cemeteries, for example. It doesn't sound too nice, but it actually looks very spectacular when everybody is there. So it's a great way to get that vocabulary in there and discussing different festivities that are similar, but very different. Halloween. So we are going to touch down on Halloween for a little bit, okay? And I'm going to show you a video, and then we're going to talk about how you can use this video in your classroom. So let's just have a look. Got a great word there.
Spooky, spooky, very spooky. Oh no, it's a monster. Spooky, spooky, very spooky. What's that? It's a witch. Spooky, spooky, very spooky. Watch out, it's a vampire. Spooky, spooky, very spooky. What's that? It's a ghost. Spooky things doing a spooky dance. Spooky things doing a spooky dance. Ah, woo, woo, woo. What kind of spooky thing are you? Ah, woo, woo, woo. What kind of spooky thing are you?
Okay, we're just going to stop it there. Okay, with this video here, it's very simple. There are other Halloween characters as it goes on, The song is very simple, but it's an opportunity as well for the children to choose a Halloween spooky creature and to create actions for their vampire or for their ghost or their witch or their monster, and to maybe create a dance to imitate their chosen character. You may want to get the children to think about doing this and then ask them during the song, what spooky thing are you? Okay, so it's a really great activity. So let's move on to Story Lane. Some of you may be using Story Lane books. Others may have other books, but there's usually a page dedicated to Halloween. In Story Lane 1, again, we've got a simple Halloween vocabulary such as bat, monster, witch, pumpkin and ghost, but you can then incorporate the colors then and say a black bat, a green monster, a purple witch, an orange pumpkin and a white ghost. Okay, they've got an opportunity to do a colouring activity, and there's also a nice pattern here that they can go on. So we're just revising and revising vocabulary on Halloween, which they love as well. So you have black bat, orange pumpkin, black bat, orange pumpkin. What's next? Black bat, orange pumpkin. Or if you look down, there's purple witch, green monster, purple witch, green monster, and so on. On this page, there is a lovely activity to make a cardboard bat or spider. It's very, very simple, and it's a lovely craft for those young learners. Okay, if we look at Story Lane 2, we've got some exercises here that shows you, again, the vocabulary, okay, with the words written there. And there's a lovely song to revise this vocabulary that we can listen to. Okay.
Sing! Vampires and pumpkins at the door. Bats, cats, and witches come and go. Monsters and ghosts with happy faces. Fun and games in Halloween places.
Okay. So again, so you've got your songs, your vocabulary, and again, there's some few little activities where they have to listen to the words to play a short game. And there's another activity, craft activity, where you will find cutouts at the back on page 103 to make some scary Halloween masks. Okay. If we look at Story Lane 3 on page 86, we're looking more at the tradition of Halloween with a short listening, okay? And there is also lots of games, keeping to revise those words. Let's listen to one of the listenings.
Page 86. Listen and read. What is Halloween?
Halloween is an old tradition and is celebrated in many parts of the world on the 31st of October. Today, Halloween is a fun day for children. They dress up in witches' costumes or as monsters, ghosts, skeletons, vampires, or bats.
Okay, so this is a nice reading and listening activity for the children, and they can go on to do exercise 3, where they have to read and decide which is the correct part of the sentence. So for example, Halloween is celebrated on, They can either use their memory from what they've heard or go to the actual text where they can find their answers. On page 87, there is a nice game for the children to play, which they can play at home as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be at school, where they can throw the dice, move their counters, okay, and find something beginning with the letter on the space of the picture. Okay, so if they land on the letter G, then they can think of ghost, or V, vampire, S, skeleton. So again, a good revision. Okay. Let's have a look at story lane 4. Okay, it goes a little bit more into detail of origins of Halloween, but there's a super activity on how to carve a jack-o'-lantern. And here you've got some simple instructions for the children to follow. Okay, it's an activity that all children love to do. Most children now do make a jack-o'-lantern for Halloween. But other than that, if we have a look here of the origins of Halloween, you get to look at WH questions about when did Halloween start, where, and what. So you have your WH questions here, and you may want to think of other questions to ask each other about Halloween. Okay. If you look at exercise 4, there are some nice riddles there. So the children must read. If we look at exercise 1 up here, I've got wings and I sleep upside down. What am I? I'm a bat. Okay. And then story lane 5, okay, we don't look at Halloween here, but we do look at other celebrations during the same season. And these 2 pages look at Bonfire Night that we have in the UK, which we're going to be looking at in a minute, and Thanksgiving Day in the USA. Okay. Now, one of my favorite celebrations and festivals is Day of the Dead. I love this, and many people get confused and think that it is the same as Halloween, but celebrated in Mexico. No, it's not. Okay, the Day of the Dead is not Halloween. However, it is celebrated at the same time of the year. The Day of the Dead is held on the 1st and 2nd of November. And it's a time to remember family and friends that they have loved. And it's a very festive time to remember them. It's held in Mexico, Latin America, and the United States. But since the film Coco came out in 2017, it's ever more celebrated in European countries as well. And Coco is a fantastic film to watch. You may ask your children to go home and watch it if they have an opportunity. This is a great time of year to watch it, where it talks about a little boy that finds himself on the other side in the land of the dead, but it's very colorful and very bright, and it's a very happy place. And he goes to find his great-great-grandfather. But going back to Day of the Dead, it's a huge celebration for families to come together, and they build altars in their homes with photos. They put photos out, lots of flowers, the marigold flowers that are bright orange. They use candles, photos, sugar skulls that we're going to look at after, and water and food. And there's lots and lots of paper decorations called papel picado that they hang out in the streets. Okay, one of the art and craft activities for the prima and seconda. This is one of my favorite activities. because it's very simple. It's semplicissimo, but you can get lots and lots of English vocabulary going on here. You may want to revise shapes and colours. So you may have a sheet of paper and say, what can you see? A yellow rectangle. What have you got here? A red triangle, or a blue circle, or a green square, etc. You can really work on these shapes and colours, not just these ones, but there are lots of others for the children to then go on and be really, really creative. Now, all you need is a paper plate. It's as simple as that. Okay, but it generates a lot of vocabulary. These are some from last year, from students last year. There's one nice one there with a nice stick, a bastoncino, which you can find in any art and craft stores. Okay, and this is an opportunity to use vocabulary for the face as well. So you have the eyes. Okay, you have 2 circles for the eyes. A triangle for the nose. Okay, here the little boy has done squares as well here for his cheeks, and his mouth has got rectangles. So there's a lot of vocabulary that you can get your children talking about. And here's another one where the skull, il teschio, is this way round, using this part for the hair. So this child was very creative because he didn't want to do his skull that way. He decided to do it this way, and it's just as effective. When your children have done something like this, they have an opportunity as well to use their vocabulary and talk about their masks that they have made. So they can say, I used red or blue or yellow, circles for the eyes. So there's a lot of vocabulary that you can use there, and the children feel very proud of themselves for doing that. Okay, if we look for the older children, okay, there's another activity which is really nice because it's art and craft combined. A little bit of origami, and again the older children really do get very creative here. We're going to have a look at the video, okay, and it's an opportunity as well when you do, or if you decide to do this, to use instructions, simple instructions for your children. So let's have a look. I'm just going to move it on just a little bit. Okay.
Glue stick, but to be honest, it's optional. Scissors, and of course pens for decorating. I've got one fine pen and then some pencils, but you can use coloured pens too. Of course, you could also use coloured paper, and you could, stick embellishments on. It's totally up to you. First thing you want to do is create a square piece of paper, and I've done that by taking my A5 sheet of paper and folding it up, and then I cut this off. This is how you create square paper. Now, these sugar skulls also look quite fun if you do them in bright blue or bright pink or bright yellow. So to be honest, just experiment, but I like doing them with the white. Then take one corner and bring it to the top. Get the other corner, also bring it up. Open. Fold down one of the 2 flaps. And then bring this over and tuck it in. And same again on this side. Bring it over and tuck it in. Now this is your very basic origami bookmark, as many of you will know already. Now I'm going to just open it up again and glue it in place, because when you do some cutting, some of the integrity, so to speak, of this bookmark comes apart, and it could be that your bookmark will fall apart if you don't glue it. So this is where origami stops and crafting begins.
Okay, so again, great activity. You can use this to give simple instructions to fold the paper, cut the paper, stick the paper. Okay, before this is for the origami part, and then they can be really, really creative to make these wonderful, wonderful bookmarks here. And you can see how creative some of the children have been. If they're not so creative with their drawings, it's okay to make it really very simple. It's their creation. It's up to them. Okay, so we're now going to look at my celebration, my festival that I love, Bonfire Night, or Guy Fawkes Night, or Fireworks Night. 3 names, and it all means the same. Okay, so when I was at school, and all children in the UK at school age, they will be taught this poem. Remember, remember the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason and plot. We see no reason why gunpowder, treason should ever be forgot. Okay, so gunpowder is polvere da sparo, treason is tradimento, and plot is complotto. It's a very well-known poem in the UK that celebrates the anniversary of the failed gunpowder plot of when Guy Fawkes with his friends wanted to blow up England's King James I and the Houses of Parliament. It didn't happen, and from that day on, since 1605, British people have had to remind everyone how they celebrate this failed attempt by going to a bonfire night. And let's have a look. So it's always celebrated on the 5th of November. And here we have a big, big bonfire. Sometimes these bonfires take days to make, okay? And usually people from the community or the comune, they all come together to build a really, really big bonfire. And in the meantime, the children make what is called a guy, which is a figure of stuffed old clothes to represent Guy Fawkes. And then they put him on the bonfire to burn. When I was a child, we would then take our guy to the centre, and we would ask penny for a guy, where people would come and give you 1p or 2p for the effort that you had put in to make your guy. Okay, nowadays, usually children from the community come together, they make it and take it to the bonfire. There's always a huge fireworks display, very similar to the end of the year. And it's just as exciting as Christmas for children. Hundreds of people come to watch it. It's a great evening out, even though it's very cold, but everybody wraps up warm. And most children play with sparklers, okay? And then there's the opportunity to have lots of nice hot food. And one thing on the menu is a jacket potato. They're very, very big potatoes. E sono coperti in aluminium. And these potatoes are put on the fire to cook, okay? Once they are cooked, they are then opened up with lots and lots of butter, tantissimo burro e formaggio, and you eat it like that. It's lovely. It's delicious, honestly. After our jacket potatoes and hamburgers and things to keep us warm, we then have toffee apples, which are basically apples on a stick dipped in caramel. And sometimes the caramel is very, very hard, so you have to really bite hard into the apples, but they are great. So some artwork that you can do. So if you want to look at Bonfire Night, we've got 3 different ways of the same idea here, where children from the prima seconda, they can use their handprints, great fine motor skills for children, where they draw around their hands lots of times. And at this point, they can either, once they've cut out their hands, okay, they can paint them using the colors of a bonfire. So again, what color is the bonfire? What color can you see? I can see orange, I can see yellow, I can see red. So you can use those colors as well to create a bonfire shape to go onto the card. Otherwise, directly onto colored card, always yellow, red and orange. You can get them to cut out their hand shapes, or they can simply paint their hands of the color of the bonfire and print their hands on the black card. They can also create lots of nice firework displays with glue and glitter. And once you have a lot of these, it really does look very spectacular. Okay, so for the older children, okay, we've got salt fireworks, simple activity, but it looks great. Basically, you will need salt, Vinaville glue, and basically the children design their firework display on black card, and then they put the salt on top. And then with acrylic paints or water paints, they can then create the colors of their fireworks. It's important that the paintbrush is very, very wet. Okay, so they can drip the color onto the salt and then the color will expand. Okay, and they can use all the different colors that they want. And it's very, very effective. Okay, right. Diwali, okay, working in an international school, it was a festival that we celebrated, okay. It's a 5-day Hindu festival, and this year it is held on the 12th to the 16th of November. It's a celebration of light over darkness. So like I said at the beginning, light wins over darkness, okay, good over bad. And it's a time for families to get together, and they fill their homes with diya lamps, which are oil lamps originally that you can see in the images here. And there are lanterns and lights, and it's a festival where the children can really get involved. And they like to make beautiful, beautiful coloured rangoli patterns. And these are made at the entrance of everybody's families. And they are made by using coloured rice, sand or flower petals. And they believe that the rangoli patterns invite the goddess of prosperity to their homes, so so they will have good luck in the coming year. So it's a really beautiful celebration, and we have some art and craft ideas here, and these ideas here are adapted from prima to the quinta. It's okay, you can adapt it to their needs. So if we look at rangoli patterns, okay, you can either print them, and as from tomorrow you will find all the PDF printouts on the website, on the Celtic website, okay, and you will find that there. But the older children can also make their own if they want to be really creative, because these rangoli patterns are geometrical. So if you want to look at different shapes as well, you can then get them to look at some rangoli patterns and say, well, try and create your own. At this point, it's really lovely to start decorating them, and you can do it. There are so many different ways that you can decorate these rangoli patterns. A nice way is to use salt. You put the salt in a bag, like a type of IKEA bag where it closes at the top. Okay, and you can put food coloring in, so colorante alimentare. You can put it in, shake the bag until the salt becomes that color. Okay, you can make lots of different colors. Usually 4 or 5 are enough. Okay, then with the glue, they can put the glue onto the different shapes of the rangoli patterns and then sprinkle the salt onto the patterns. Now, you don't have to do it that way. There's lots and lots of different ways that you can do it, okay? You can use simply colouring pens or colouring pencils. You might want to use the bright coloured paints or glitter or seeds. There's so many different ways that you can create these, and you can make that choice and what you think would be best and what your children would like to do best. Okay, but again, once you get them all together as a display, they look absolutely fabulous. Another activity that especially the younger children really like to do is to make the dia lamps, and basically it's like a little candle holder made from clay, in this case Daz, and they have a large circle of clay, and the children could be really manipulate the clay to make this holder, this candle holder. So they can use their fingers, they can pinch up the sides, make sure that it's big enough and not too small that the candle won't fit inside. Okay, the older children can be really creative as well, and they could make their dia lamp as a leaf, maybe as the leaves fall from the trees, or a flower or a bird. Okay, once it's dry, you can then paint them with really, really bright colors. And if you have a look at the image that we have here, you've got bright blue, bright green, there's bright yellow, and they're also painted with sequins and beads and glitter, and they really do look very spectacular. Okay, so I want to just show you here on the internet, and like I said, tomorrow on the PDF you'll find all of this, but the children do enjoy making their own as well. You may want to do a circle, and then within that circle they can make their geometrical shapes. They really do look very beautiful. Okay, so there's lots of ideas there that you have. Okay, so I'd like to say thank you for watching. I hope you do get something from this. I hope you have enjoyed it. You've got some ideas of what you can do other than Halloween. If you do decide to do something with your children, then please do take a photo and put it onto the Facebook page, and I would love to see them. So I hope to see you again very soon. So thank you very much, and see you soon. Bye-bye.